Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to talk about off-season winners. We're going to have our top two, each of our top two's off-season winners from the year, or from this off-season, depending on, it could be free agency, trades, whatever. Two players that we think have benefited the most this off-season. Before we do that, make sure you guys go check us out on all the different platforms where we are. Twitter, it's the FF Profit. Instagram, it's instagram.com/fantasyfootballprofit. We're on YouTube as well at youtube.com/fantasyfootballprofit, fantasyfootballprofit.com. Pretty much everywhere. Go check us out, all those places. If you want to join our Discord, go check us out. I'll have a link in the description to this episode as well. You can go get some of our great picks there. Ask us questions. My amazing gambling picks, which went 8-0 yesterday. Won't talk about today, but it's looking like 0-6. I think that's just equally impressive, Jeff. I think if you go 0-6, who can do that? You can't even try and do that, but go check us out on all those different places. But off-season winners, we each got two. Jeff, who's your first?
Off-season winner. Should I start with the most benefited? Sure. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go to the guy I believe benefited the most from the off-season shuffle, and that young man is going to be a wide receiver, and his name is Cortland Sutton.
Nice.
So we all know that Russell Wilson went to Denver. Big story. Cortland Sutton is a very talented wide receiver that never really got a full shake. If you look at, he's played 4 years now. The quarterbacks that he had throwing to him in his rookie year was Case Keenum. Next year was Joe Flacco and Drew Lock and Brandon Allen.
Jeez.
The next year was Drew Lock mostly, and then last year was Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock for 3 games. So no one that I don't think he's had a legit chance to have a breakout year. Even when he did in 2019, when he had Flacco, Lock, and Brandon Allen, not exactly a trio of people that you want throwing to you, he was able to go over 1,000 yards, and he was a very viable option. He was even, what did he end up with? 2019, he ended up as the 17th best wide receiver in fantasy with those 3 quarterbacks thrown to him. He has had some injury issues, and last year he went 58 receptions for 776 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not a great year for him, but I do think that he's finally going to be healthy. I think it's going to coincide with getting a very good quarterback that can throw the deep ball very well. I realize that a lot of NFL quarterbacks do throw pretty good deep ball, but I do think that Russell Wilson is kind of on a tier on his own. And Cortland Sutton is also a pretty big guy, being 6'4". He's going to have ample opportunities to catch touchdowns, and we've seen how well Russell Wilson was able to do with DK Metcalf. I realize DK is probably more of an athletic beast, but at the same time, I do think that they have similar attributes. So I do think that Cortland Sutton will find success immediately with him. So he is the guy that I think benefits the most. He should skyrocket up every list.
And that trade helps you get to boost Cortland Sutton one more time, right? One final time, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, one more time.
So, I'm a Jerry Jeudy guy, so but that doesn't matter. Russell Wilson has shown he can support 2 receivers. So DK and Tyler Lockett were both good before that. They had Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett at the time. There was all guys. He's had guys. He can support multiple receivers if they're going to throw the ball. And I don't see why they won't let him throw the ball. They've already said that they're going to let Russell Wilson have a big say in this offense. And he wasn't getting as much of a say in the Seattle offense for some reason, but they're going to give him a say. He's going to throw the ball. Sutton should benefit. I think Jeudy as well will benefit. I think both. I think, I like the pick. To me, it could be both of the receivers are going to benefit.
Yeah,
they're both winners.
Yeah, if our list was 5 long, Jerry Jeudy would have showed up on there as well.
Yep, in preseason ranks, early ranks on Fantasy Pros, Cortland Sutton is 30th right now, and but he's 30th. He's as high as 15 on some boards.
Yeah,
and Jerry Jeudy is 31st. So
yeah,
and as high as 19th.
I think probably somewhere in between both of those. That's probably appropriate.
Yep. And they're probably dragged down by people not updating yet, so they're probably in mid to late 20s, which puts him either, if you get Cortland Sutton as your wide receiver 3, you probably feel pretty decent. I think probably a good pick. So I like that one. I'm going to go with a running back here, and I'm going to pick Elijah Mitchell because 49ers did not re-sign Raheem Mostert, and to me that gives Elijah Mitchell a clear shot at the backfield. Mostly a clear shot at the backfield, right? Mostly, I say, because they still have a bunch of other guys around, right? JaMychal Hasty is still there. They let's see who else. Make sure they did. Jeff Wilson still there. Trey Sermon is the only thing that could possibly, I think, put a wrench into the plans. And I don't know if that will. It's just because you just got to think of it as, at least in my back of my mind, Trey Sermon was the higher draft pick, right? And you're like, maybe it does finally come together this year and he starts to play over Elijah Mitchell. That's the only hesitation I have because Jeff Wilson and JaMychal Hasty aren't going to do anything. Like, Elijah Mitchell's ahead of them clearly. Trey Sermon, it's hard to say. He didn't look bad when he got a shot last year, but just something that they just don't, something about it they don't like. But they also didn't go sign anybody else. It's Mitchell, Wilson, Hasty, Sermon. So I think this really can be good for Elijah Mitchell. I loved him last year, but it's hard to say. It's like, is this going to be a one-year deal? It's going to be too many guys, but there's not. And he's a top 20 running back now, easily probably bordering on top 15. But I think Elijah Mitchell's a big winner here. Yeah, Trey Sermon's the only one that's still that back of my mind. But you could easily get Trey Sermon if you're uncomfortable with Elijah Mitchell on your team and get Trey Sermon at the end. So Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. He was outstanding in the 10 games that he started. He looked very, very good. And he was the, 6th round pick, and I think Trey Sermon was the 3rd round pick.
3rd or 4th, yeah.
And they still had, and even Jeff Wilson, we mentioned him, and he was serviceable when he got the opportunity, but they only signed him to a 1-year deal.
Yep.
And I believe it was, I think the guaranteed money is probably only like $500,000. So you're definitely not expecting him to be your go-to guy. And the other guy that if he's ever stayed healthy would probably give them the biggest run for their money is gone now in Mostert. So I 100% agree with you. I think Mitchell and Sermon probably has a larger hill to climb, but I do think he has more to probably gain. But Elijah Mitchell is going to be the guy to get.
Yep. I'm not going to write off Sermon yet. Some people are. I'm just not there yet. Let's see.
I'm bigger on him now because I believe that he's probably a value pick. Mm-hmm. Last year I was not because it got too crazy and I didn't think that it would translate to the NFL right away.
You can add him to the end of your bench if you have a deep enough bench with Mitchell on your team.
Yeah, I like it's almost like a handcuff because we know how much running backs on the 49ers get hurt.
It could be a quick thing where you only have him for a few weeks and realize, all right, he's not playing. Bye.
Yeah, it'd be no big deal.
Who knows? All right, who's your other offseason winner?
My offseason winner is going to be CeeDee Lamb. So this one is pretty easy to explain, but hey, they trade away Amari Cooper. They didn't want to have to deal with his contract. They thought they could get more for him. I agree. CeeDee Lamb was already kind of the number one on that team. Now you don't have that other mouth to feed. Dak has already shown himself to be a good quarterback. I think that CeeDee Lamb is incredibly talented. So he's already ended as the 20th best wide receiver and 14th. Now there's that impediment out of your way. I don't think this is a guy that needs a number one or anyone else to really take away coverage or pressure off of him. I think that he's going to do tremendously well in his 3rd season. I think he's going to be a killer. The only thing that gives me a little hesitation is because his target share has already been pretty darn good. As a rookie, he had 111. His second year, he had 120. How much can that go up by? But it does feel like he's falling in place where he can be one of those elite wide receivers that get 130, 140 targets, and I think he can reach pay dirt a lot. I think this guy is incredibly dangerous. So I think it's setting up his best year yet. I'm very high on CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to be showing himself to be legit, where he's going to be, that Justin Jefferson level, where you're just like every week he just comes out and does it.
He has to be the guy, too. He has to.
You have to be the guy.
Because, obviously, no Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup could miss the first couple games.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting. And if he does, then there's James Washington is the next in the depth chart currently. Well, they could add somebody. It's early. But he has to be the guy. And They're going to throw the ball. They do. They run the ball a lot too. They just have if they're going to be a great offense and do what they want to do, CeeDee Lamb has to be a part of it. Has to be 100 catches. Has to be double-digit touchdowns. All that. All that stuff.
I mean, the only argument against him is if you think that he's like Juju. But let's be honest.
I don't think so.
Amari Cooper was not Antonio Brown, right?
Yeah.
So I think people already viewed him as kind of the number one, and his numbers speak for themselves. He missed maybe he missed one game each year. I'm sorry, one game last year, and then he played every game his rookie year. But 111 targets. He turned that into 74 catches for 935 yards for 5 touchdowns. It's a great rookie season. Mm-hmm. He improved it a little bit last year. 120 targets, up by 9. 79 receptions, that's up by 5. And then yardage is 1102. So he was able to up it by 180 yards or so, and then 6 touchdowns, which is upping it by 1. So, I'm very impressed that he was able to do that in the first 2 years. And I don't know. Yep. So nothing more I have to say about it. CeeDee Lamb's a killer. I think everyone can get behind that.
All right, my last pick is going to be a quarterback. It's going to be Tua. So if he can do it, if he has it in him, it's going to show this year. And he has to make it work this year. But I think he is a great pick at quarterback late. Like right now, he's still only ranked 18th. He's probably going to go up higher. But either way, he's not a starter. You get him as a second if you want to do that. I would take that chance, and maybe he makes the leap. He adds Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle was already coming on last year. They have Mike Gesicki. The running backs now, Myles Gaskin is now their third. Thank God for that. Myles Gaskin was not a starting running back in the NFL. And all you people who tried to prop him up, just watch a little bit. I mean, come on. He was terrible. So they got Raheem Mostert. They got Chase Edmonds. They have one of the fastest teams out there now, too. Raheem Mostert, that dude can fly. Tyreek Hill obviously can fly. All these guys.
Yeah, Waddle's insanely fast.
They are.
You didn't even
fast.
mention Will Fuller, who was other speed demon from 3, 4, 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And then we don't even that's how deep that their team is now. They're number 1 2 years ago. Devontae Parker is probably going to be 4th on the depth chart if everyone is healthy.
Yeah, and exactly. And they have Cedric Wilson, who they added, who's a solid player. He's another fast guy. He can run pretty well. He ran like a 4.4 in college. They have speed. They added Terron Armstead at left tackle, like highest paid left tackle on the offseason. They've added all this for Tua. If he doesn't get it done with this, hey, he can't get it done, right? They're gonna make these guys. They're gonna use them creative ways. I just know it's gonna happen. Mike McDaniel in San Francisco, he helped use Debo, and how many different ways did they use Debo? Multiple running backs, all this different stuff. They're gonna try things. They're going to get Waddle the ball. They're going to get Hill the ball. They're going to get everybody the ball. And Tua, I think he has it in him. I really do. I don't think he's like a special quarterback, but I think he's a good quarterback who is going to have all this talent, and he's going to be elevated because of it. And he's going to be sneaky in fantasy because of it. Because, like I said, Trey Lance is now ahead of him in the ranks right now, and Justin Fields is ahead of him in the ranks right now. But Tua has the players around him. Those guys have – who's Justin Fields? What does Justin Fields have?
Mooney, I think that's it.
Trey Lance does have some talent around him. Debo and Ayuk and Kittle. And Elijah Mitchell. That one, if Lance can play, I get it. There's talent. Justin Fields shouldn't be ahead of Tua. I'm sorry.
Dude, Trey Lance shouldn't be ahead of him either.
Trey Lance, I wouldn't put Trey Lance ahead of him. First off, Jimmy's still on the team. We don't even know what's going on there. But Tua has a big chance, and I'd add him as a second quarterback.
Yeah, I love that right now. I mean, I think just with the talent and to watch and see, you have to have him up near 13, 14 already. He has not proved it. I realize that. But I do think he took some steps last year that were really positive. But you're absolutely right. I do think that in the who won the most, do I feel the most confident about him? No. But he definitely did win the most. And I think when you're talking about Tyreek, which is what everyone is going to talk about, I think you hit it right on the head when you talked about adding that left tackle. There's no reason, and there's no reason he shouldn't succeed. And if he doesn't, he'll be out. Yeah, he'll be out of Miami. Mm-hmm. And even more so, the running backs that they got, I think are really talented, but they all have their downfalls.
Yeah, there's going to be no bell cow, which is fine.
There's not going to be, there's not going to be a Saquon. There's not going to be a Delvin Cook or something where you're like, that's the guy to get. No. It is going to be Tua has to have a lot of touchdowns this year. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. And man, Tyreek and Waddle alone, and then you throw in, if Will Fuller is healthy, I don't know how you don't go deep every fifth throw.
Man, Gesicki, man, that guy, he's a talented player. I know he can finally take. It can take tight ends sometimes longer, right?
It does without a doubt.
He's 26. He's gonna be 27, so it's running out of time.
It does feel like there's too many mouths to feed all of a sudden.
But he can help Tua. So
he can, yes.
So all right, there we go. Off-season winners. I think there's a couple good ones. So players, I'm excited about heading into the year. That'll do it for this one. Talk to you guys next time.